Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to day 3 of Food Freedom Live. I am Kim McLaughlin. I am your host. I am super glad to be here. I am here and we're going to talk about mindfulness today. And this is a great day to do it. I was at yoga earlier today and our yoga instructor talked a lot about the breath, about holding a pose and feeling into the breath and then feeling into your body. And it really reminded me of what we're talking about here in Food Freedom Live today when we're talking about mindfulness, about how to come back into your body and how to be more connected to yourself. So I thought I'd pull something out different that I don't normally do. I do it in Emotional Eating Solutions, my 8-week course. And when we do our monthly coaching call, I bring out some cards to have us get centered and get us present for the moment. And today I'm going to bring out my cards. I love these ones. The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. I love pulling out these cards. And what I do is we just kind of take the cards and kind of shuffle them, and whatever falls out is the one that we talk about today, or we use it kind of as our guiding force. And this one, always something pops out. This is the back of what the card looks like. Here is the card, and I love it. My fearless freedom lights up the world. My fearless freedom lights up the world. What a great guiding light for us today. Let's breathe that one in. And so what I do is I put these cards, when I pull one, I put them up on my desk and I look at it throughout the day, and it makes me come back to literally taking a deep breath and being more centered in what's going on. My fearless freedom lights up the world. Today we're talking about freedom with food, but also we're talking about bigger freedom, about all the 6 components we've been talking about: physical, emotional, mental, lifestyle, mindfulness, and self-love. When we have all of these in alignment, there really is this sense of freedom and a sense of moving forward in our lives in a whole new way. The food is the way that we can come to the table and let's do this. There we go. I'm trying to make sure that I am front and center. And we want to have mindfulness as our guiding light. And today that's what we're talking about. I'm going to do a share screen. Here we go. I do like to use there we go. I like to use PowerPoint because it helps me keep on track, but it also gives you something to look at. And if you need to take notes, it's great to take notes. So today we're in day 3. Day 1 was on diet mindset. And day 2, yesterday, was on emotional eating. Today is on mindfulness. Day 4 is on question and answer. So, who am I? I'm Kim McLaughlin. I am a psychotherapist here in the state of California. I am a coach, a podcaster on the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast. I am an author. I am a blogger, and I really own that I am a former long-term dieter. I have been writing recently about, if you've been dieting over 10 years, you understand. Well, I dieted for much, much longer than 10 years. And so I don't diet anymore. I feel that freedom with food. And if food becomes an issue for me, I know what to do because I have my personal wellness plan that helps me check myself and to make sure I'm right on track. So, mindfulness is a core component to ending overeating. Mindfulness really dovetails into everything that we talk about. And I think you'll find that today's information is super important. I like to go and find out definitions of words that we use. So, today, according to mindful.org, the definition of mindfulness is mindfulness is a basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what is going on around us. So it's a basic human ability, and it's to be fully present, to be present within ourselves. And if you think about it, that's really a huge piece of where we get lost when we are overeating is that we're not fully present, embodied in ourselves about, am I hungry? Am I full? What is my right food? What do I need for myself? We've lost that. And coming back to mindfulness, practicing mindfulness is really important to help us become more free with food and not feeling overwhelmed by it. Being fully present is all about being focused on the present moment. So if we're talking about being in our body, we're talking about what is going on right now. Where am I right now? And breathe into that moment. So what is going on for me right now is I'm sitting here talking to all of you, those of you that are live, those of you that are watching this later, and I'm sitting down. I feel myself centered in my chair, and I can I can breathe into my moment. And really, the breath is such the key spot to help us be connected in our bodies. The breath, and breathe into that moment. If you breathe in with me, you can feel yourself in your body. I can feel myself. And this is what my yoga teacher was talking about earlier today, is when he said, when we're in different poses. He said, breathe into it and feel your breath and feel where your breath is. That is about being centered and present in your body. We got to start wondering, why would we want to be mindful? Because we haven't been. I don't know about for you, but we haven't been mindful. I know that through my experience of being really disconnected with my body and disconnected around food, is that I was really outside of my body. And if you really saw my hand, it'd be way far, way outside of myself. That is where I was, and I wasn't connected in my body. What I find is when people say, I didn't know if I was hungry or full, I couldn't stop when I was full, I have this non-feeling connected. I don't feel what's going on inside myself. Well, that's because we're not being mindful. We're not being present in ourselves. We know that mindfulness increases intuitive eating. And I haven't been talking much about kind of the genesis of where we come from with what I talk about. And that is what's called intuitive eating. Intuitive eating is where you get connected back with your body and what your body needs and wants to take care of yourself. And that is intuitive eating. And in my course, we talk about it around the 6 concepts that we go over. And intuitive eating is that idea that when you were born, you knew how much to eat, what you needed, and you stopped when you were full. You cried when you were hungry, and you closed your mouth. You pierced your mouth when you're closed, or when you're full. You wouldn't overeat. I know that there are some times where there are little ones that are dysregulated in their body and they do overeat, and that's something that needs to be taken care of through with a therapist, with a doctor, somebody to help a child understand and recognize their body signals, and also what's going on emotionally that is leading them to overeat. The more mindful we are, the more we intuitively eat. I talk often about my daughter that she really taught me a lot about intuitive eating, because as she was coming up, she would eat when she was hungry and she would stop when she was full. She would also eat what was right for her body, what she wanted, what made her feel satisfied. And she, to this day, doesn't eat cake. She definitely doesn't like icing. And it's just not her food. And I always found that fascinating that she just wouldn't eat it. And it's so much so that her friends know that if she comes over to their birthday party, they won't even offer her cake because she won't eat it, because she doesn't like the taste. She doesn't like it. That is intuitive eating, is really being in touch with what satisfies you and not eating something that you don't want. And eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're satisfied. Those are really important pieces. And mindfulness, for those of us that lost that connection all those years ago, mindfulness is really a key concept that gets us back in alignment. Mindlessness Mindlessness takes us out of our bodies because we're not fully present in what's going on inside of ourselves. And we get disconnected. We become mindless over time for lots of different reasons. There are reasons why you've become disconnected. A lot of times, or one of the pieces of what happens is all that dieting that we do. Dieting creates this opportunity to be disconnected. Dieting creates an opportunity to be disconnected from our body because we're told, be told what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. And we're told to stop when we're not necessarily satisfied and we're not necessarily full, and to eat foods that aren't necessarily satisfying to us. And that begins to take us out of our body and be mindless. What we want to do is come back in and have more of this body trust and body freedom to really feel into the idea that I can trust that I know what's right to eat. Because what's also happened with that diet mindset is that we became disconnected from truly trusting our bodies to tell us what we need, truly trusting our bodies to tell us what we need, because mindlessness has taken over. When we're out of our bodies and we're mindlessly eating, that's when we're not paying attention to, when we're mindless, we're not paying attention to whether we're hungry. We don't pay attention to whether we're full. We don't pay attention to whether we need to stop. We eat too fast. And we also mindlessly don't taste our food. These are still concepts that I work on, I embrace, and I don't feel challenged by them so much as I'm conscious of them. One of the ones that's my difficult one is eating fast. My husband will recognize, like, oh, you're done so soon. Yeah, I eat fast. I maybe eat faster than others. I work on paying attention and being mindful at when I'm eating. And one of the things I do to accommodate sometimes eating fast is I put on my plate a portion that generally is the portion of what I would normally eat, so that if I do eat too fast, I'm not eating to overfull. Because you know that once we eat, it takes a little while, about 20 minutes, for our body to catch up and know if we're full and satisfied. So that's one thing I do. I try things out to help me eat slower. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I know that about myself, and I check in with myself to help work on that. So if we recognize mindlessness, we see it in ourselves. But like, what do? I just told you what I do with one of my mindfulness is that I recognize that sometimes I eat too fast. So I do things to help me become more mindful, right? I put an amount on my plate that is kind of a normal amount. And that helps me become more mindful of, okay, I'm going to sit and eat. And then when I'm done with that portion, I can take a deep breath, sit and wonder, am I satisfied? Am I still hungry? And I can go back and get more. So we want to recognize for each of ourselves, how do we become more mindful? First, become more mindful during your meals. And truly, that is easier said than done. But start becoming mindful. Like I said, I focus on how much I put on my plate so that I can be more mindful during my time of eating. And I engage in more techniques that help me become mindful during eating. Have a more mindful connection to your food. I make sure that I have food that's satisfying, that I really want. I check in with myself and wonder, am I hungry? How hungry am I? This is something we talk about in depth in Emotional Eating Solutions, my 8-week course. We talk about how to check in with yourself to recognize, am I hungry? How hungry am I? Am I satisfied? Am I full? And then we start making a conscious connection to our body, and then a conscious connection to food. Because if I know I'm hungry, then I start making the connection to the food of, what is my right food? What would satisfy me right now? What is the food that would give me the energy to do the things that I need to do? So becoming more mindfully connected to your food. Third, feel in touch with your body as you eat. I will do things like I will eat and I'll make myself put my fork down. The other thing I'll do is I'll after I take a bite, I'll wipe my mouth with my napkin. That helps slow me down, right? Remember I said I'm the one who needs help in slowing down. Those are things that really help me slow down so I can feel more in touch with my body as I eat. And I take time to notice if I'm satisfied with the food. Is this the food that is what I really want? Does it taste good? Does it need anything? Does it need salt? Does it need pepper? Does it need anything? Is it still the food that I really want to eat? And if not, then I make a course correction. Also, when I'm more mindful, I can start evaluating, am I still hungry? I have people tell me all the time, I cannot stop when I'm full. Well, because we're dysregulated and not in touch with our body and what our body really needs, as well as dysregulated around emotions and thoughts and all the things. Remember, the six components join together to help us with the one question, am I still hungry? All those components, physical, emotional, mental, lifestyle, mindfulness, self love, help integrate into us, am I still hungry? Because if I'm still hungry, then I need to eat. One of the things that diets taught me was that it doesn't matter if I'm hungry or not. How many calories do I have left? How many macros do I have left? How many points do I have left? Am I allowed to eat the rest of this food? And I also know that I'm saying something really radically different. And it's a radical concept to say to be in touch with your body while you're eating. Be in touch with your body while you're eating. That's not something that we talk about much. And that is a key skill that will help you out. So, we want to practice some mindfulness techniques, being in touch with your body, taking a mindful moment, breathing into that moment. I think one of the most important things I learned over the years is that the breath is one of the best places. You cannot be calm and upset at the same time. So that tells me that the more I'm in calm, the more I can center myself to be present to whatever's going on, most especially when I'm eating. So breathing is one of those key ways. It's really, I hope this is a huge takeaway for you that breathing into the moment, breathing into that time of eating is one of the best ways. You have enough time to take a breath because you're going to do it. I'm saying let's be mindful when we take that breath and become present in that moment so we can be in touch with our body for when we come to eat. I like practicing it throughout the day. I start my day with my mindfulness, and I talk about it on my podcast and in other places where I talk about what I do. One of the things I do is I do some meditation. I like to listen. Gabby Bernstein is somebody I listen to, and I have her app and I listen to some daily meditations from her. Sometimes they're 1 minute or 2 minutes. Sometimes it's 10 minutes. It just depends on what I need, how I feel, and how much time I have. Another thing I do is I will do some journaling in my journal. So I write down what's going on, what I'm feeling, maybe the meditation that I did or an affirmation. And I just write it down. That helps me kind of solidify it in my brain. And then what I find is after I give myself a reward, after I do all my mindfulness, I will play Wordle. I love Wordle. My goodness, I play it every day and it's one of the highlights of my morning because I really like it. It engages my brain in a way that I really like. But I practice my mindfulness first and then I choose to do my Wordle. So those are some things that I do. And this is your mindfulness practice is individual and you get to decide what it looks like. So I want to ask you, what are you going to start doing differently? Remember, I just talked about mindfulness is really interwoven into all the things we've been talking about these last couple of days, physical, the emotional, the mental, the lifestyle, mindfulness, and the self-love. It really dovetails in together to make everything, make it so it's easier to be present. And being present during food, during your eating, is one of the core pieces. Am I hungry? Am I full? Is this my right food? And this is some of the core pieces that when you have those in alignment, whether you join us in Emotional Eating Solutions or not, get those in alignment. I'm telling you what you need. Do that. If you're finding that it's really difficult to do it by yourself, then I'm offering Emotional Eating Solutions, my 8-week self-study course. And it is 8 weeks of videos. They're about 10 minutes each. They're not very long. I liked having them in little bite-sized chunks because I like to learn a little bit at a time. You can watch all of them, or you can do each of them individually throughout the week. You have weekly assignments that are not really complicated, but they really provide a way to solidify the things that you're learning. And also, once a month, we have our group coaching call with me, where we get to dig deeper into those the learnings in Emotional Eating Solutions, also just what's going on for you, and let's talk about it and let's give you some ideas. The bonus we have is an in-depth wellness plan that keeps you on track long after the program is done for you, after you finish the 8 weeks, and the Emotional Eating Solutions playbook. So you have access to all of these for the lifetime of the program. I don't have any reason that I'm stopping the program anytime. So you get to come on the coaching call. You get to go back and look at the wellness plan. You get to look at the online portal. When it's ever updated, you get access to it again. So it's really something that you can come back to over and over again. To me, learning all of this and embracing it is not a one and done kind of experience. So here is Emotional Eating Solutions, $297. It's really worth it. It's it's something you can try to do on your own, but if it doesn't work, come on back and let's do this together. The price is increasing July 1st. If you want to join, this is the best time to join. You'll get a link to this in the email you get. We're at feedyoursoulunlimited.com. It's in the Emotional Eating Solutions self-study dropdown if you go to the website. And I hope you join us. I hope you want to get that freedom, kind of move out of that craziness and into freedom with food. And I know you could be so many different places. Thank you for those of you that joined us live. And I would love to know what your takeaway is. What are you learning from this masterclass? And also, what are you going to do for your mindfulness? You can email me at info@feedyoursoulunlimited.com, or you can look for the link. When you get the email, you can just email me back and let me know, what are you going to do for your mindfulness? Because I love getting ideas about what you're going to do. So this is day 3 of a Food Freedom Live Masterclass. We've talked about diet, mindset. We've talked about emotions. We've talked about mindfulness. On Monday at 11 o'clock, we're going to do Q&A. So you can send in your questions. You can come on live and ask the questions, or you can send them to me. We've got plenty of time to make sure that all of your questions are answered. I am so glad you were here today. Thank you so much for being part of this live masterclass. Bye, everyone.